used a condom. Now, with the girls that he's cheating on me with, he used condom, but he's never used a condom with me, and you know that. So stop lying.
I fought for 2 years to get visitation to see these children. I went through mediators. She kept saying that I would kidnap the kids, that she'd never see them again. It took me 2 years.
I did open up and say that I was with another man, but I never said that AJ was not his.
Even though you didn't say it, could it be true?
No, it was my conception date.
Just when you think you've seen it all, the courtroom drama kicks off. The case is introduced by the court show host Jerome, and the presiding judge, Judge Lake, greets the participants and the audience with her usual flair. Mr. Johnson steps up, explaining that he's in court to cut through the fog of a nearly 2-decade emotional tug of war over the paternity of Amber May, firmly believing he's not the father. Buckle up, because this courtroom roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Johnson versus Carr May.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Mr. Johnson, you say the defendant, Mrs. Carr, has been playing an emotional DNA game with you over her daughter's paternity for the past 18 years. You've brought her to court to finally end this game and prove you are not her daughter's biological father.
Hold on to your hats. Things are about to get windy. Ms. Carr fires back with gusto, accusing Mr. Johnson of dodging DNA tests like they're dodgeballs and shirking his fatherly duties from day one. She suggests his denials are not about truth, but payback because she rejected him romantically. You won't believe what's coming up next.
You say that Mr. Johnson has been dodging a DNA test and his responsibilities as a father since the day you told him you were pregnant. You claim the only reason he is denying her is because you are married and will no longer sleep with him. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you thought daytime TV was juicy, wait till you hear this soap opera plot. Judge Lake digs into their past relationship, or lack thereof. Mr. Johnson clarifies they were never an item, but had a brief fling that led to Ms. Carr's pregnancy, sparking an immediate paternity controversy. The plot thickens. Keep watching. The next part is a real doozy.
We had sex one time.
Okay.
One time. It was a lot of touchy-feely before, and the one time we had sex, it was, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Honor's not true.
Well, do you agree that you had sex with him just one time?
I agree that we had sex on multiple times. We have had sex
And
more
at
than
some
one
point
time.
you realized you pregnant?
Yes.
Just when Mr. Johnson thought he was out, they pull him back in. The conversation gets intense as Mr. Johnson recounts a crucial conversation where Ms. Carr's family allegedly informed him that another man was confirmed as the father through a DNA test, leading him to initially back off. Stick around. It gets even more tangled.
Do you think it's yours? It was just, I'm moving to Ohio.
Your Honor, I
That was the end
remember
of the
this conversation verbatim.
No.
Like, this is something I cannot forget. I remember the whole day like it was yesterday, crying and snotting. I told my family member after I got off the phone with Miss Carr, I could have a baby on the way.
Nobody else in the family knew about him being a possibility. I had her on the delivery table. That's when I told my mom.
Grab your popcorn. This is getting good. Mr. Johnson describes how he got emotionally hooked into Amber's life over the years, despite the swirling paternity doubts, celebrating her milestones like a true dad. The unresolved paternity issue casts a long shadow, though. Don't go anywhere. The emotional fireworks are just starting.
And you did not know this, Mr.
No,
Johnson?
ma'am, I didn't.
Mr. Johnson has been active in her life periodically.
At one point in time, after her father comes to my house and said that I wasn't the father, I move on with my life. Maybe about 5-6 years later, I had my first daughter. They see how I'm interacting with her, and so I guess they say, this is your daughter now.
You thought daytime court was just gavels and legal jargon, huh? Judge Lake's patience wears thin as she questions why, after all the daddy duties, Mr. Johnson still hadn't taken a DNA test. She points out the absurdity of doing everything but the one thing that could have settled all questions. The suspense is killing me. What happens next will shock you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm full-blown father. I'm school clothes, shoes, everything.
If you're a full-blown father and you're throwing birthday party, what brings you to court today? You still have a doubt?
I got a phone call about a year or two later requesting a DNA test. Now, after I'm full-blown father mode, why get a DNA test now? Why not when I asked for one?
I want the answers to both of those questions.
Now, from the mouth of babes, or at least teenagers, Amber May steps into the courtroom, shedding light on her side of the story with memories of Mr. Johnson that range from sparse to fond, particularly a birthday party that seemed more splash than substance. You'll want to hear what she says next. It's heart-wrenching and heartwarming all at once.
Because he asked to contact my mother. He had told me to tell my mother to call him.
And so you said, I did abandon you. I take responsibility for my actions, but it's a lot you don't know. And then Amber writes back, well, I'm of age. Please enlighten me, Brandon. And then you say, you may not be my daughter. We were supposed to get a paternity test about 4 or 5 years ago. Your biological father and the man you know to be your father, you wanted them to be at your graduation.
Yes, ma'am.
Drum roll, please. For the big reveal, the DNA test results are finally announced by Judge Lake.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are her father.
The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as the curtain rises on the drama of Moyet versus Lester. Miss Moyet steps up, ready to drop some serious courtroom drama, claiming Mr. Lester, a cool 20 years her senior, is the dad of 3-month-old Nyla. She's not just here to chat. She's gunning for half the child-rearing cash because, according to her, Mr. Lester's been about as helpful as a chocolate teapot. She lays it all out for Judge Lake, who's all ears.
Ms. Moyet, you're here in court today to prove that Mr. Lester, a man who 20 years older than you, is the father of your 3-month-old daughter, Nyla Moyet. You claim Mr. Lester has done nothing for your daughter, therefore you're suing for half of child-rearing expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Enter Mr. Lester, the accused baby daddy, who throws a curveball straight away. He insists he and Miss Moyet were never an item, and she was not exactly playing a one-woman game at the time of conception. He's so sure he's not the father that you'd think he had a crystal ball. Mr. Lester is standing his ground, setting the stage for a paternity clash that's got the audience leaning in.
That you and Ms. Moyet were never in a relationship and that she had multiple sex partners, her time of conception, so you are 100% certain that you are not the father of baby Nyla. So Ms. Moyet, what has been Mr. Lester's involvement in baby Nyla's life since her birth?
Miss Moyet counters with a low blow, detailing the scanty contributions Mr. Lester has made. A few diapers and a onesie that screams boy in a sea of pink. It's all diapers and onesies, and she's got receipts, literally. She's been footing the bill for baby Nyla's buffet of needs, and she's got the paperwork to prove it. Judge Lake's intrigued and asks to see the evidence. The plot thickens, and the calculator comes out.
Besides the fact of 3 cases of diapers, a onesie that he bought for her, which was a boy outfit, other than that, me and my mother have been providing for her food, milk, and everything and things like that. I also have evidence here showing you that I have been buying, providing clothes, food, cribs,
Let me see
everything.
that evidence.
Oh, but there's a twist. Miss Moyet drops a bombshell about her baby-making strategy. It seems she had marked her calendar for a very special visit to Mr. Lester's love shack on peak ovulation day. Despite his protests, she's like, hey, I told you I wanted a baby. It's a he said, she said, with a side of baby drama, and the stakes are as high as the drama.
When you told him about the pregnancy, what was his reaction, Ms. Moyet?
He was not happy. I actually planned this pregnancy. I went over his house the day I was ovulating, okay? And I let him know, babe, I'm ovulating. I want to have a baby. We did nothing.
That is not true.
Yeah, we did nothing to prevent Nyla. To make matters even worse.
Just when you think it can't get more soap opera, Mr. Lester admits they still hooked up recently. Protection-free, no less. This guy's memory seems as patchy as his claims of using protection. This bombshell has the court gasping because it ties him right back to the scene of the conception. The judge's eyebrows are somewhere near the ceiling, and everyone's waiting for the next shoe to drop.
Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Yesterday we did have sex. That is true. Prior to that.
Yesterday when you had sex, did you use protection?
Yeah.
No. I have no reason to lie. I planned my baby's pregnancy. I planned this. I wanted to be with him.
What she's saying is you were having unprotected sex with her then, and even since this child's birth, that you are a possible father if in fact that sex occurred during the window of conception.
Mr. Lester tries to wiggle out of this sticky situation by listing his doubts about Nyla's paternity like it's a grocery list. He's got suspicions galore, from Miss Moyet's mysterious boyfriend stories to her frequent hangouts with the neighborhood guy. The court's got more doubt than a conspiracy theory convention, but Mr. Lester's tales are starting to sound like he's grasping at straws.
You 45 years old.
Absolutely.
When a woman says to you, I want to have your baby, and you say, no, I really don't want you to, and you're still having sex without protecting yourself, you're setting yourself up.
That's a lie. You've never used
Your
a
Honor.
condom. Now, with the girls that he's cheating on me with, he used condom, but he's never used a condom with me, and you know that. So stop lying.
Drum roll, please. The DNA results are in, and wouldn't you know it?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lester, you are Nyla's father.
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am.
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell you?
Ma'am.
Didn't I tell
You
you?
need to be. Ma'am, I understand you're upset.
Judge Lake kicks things off with a smooth, you may be seated, setting the stage for what's about to unfold. Ron, with his usual flair, pipes up with a cheery, hello, Your Honor, as if he's just walked into a surprise party. The courtroom, already buzzing, gears up for the drama about to play out.
Hello, Yana.
Hello.
This is a case of Krieger, Lee v. Dittmer.
Thank you, Ron. Good day, everyone. Ms. Krieger, you say that your mother's ex-boyfriend, Mr. Dittmer, has denied that you were his daughter for much of the past 34 years due to his anger over paying child support.
Ms. Krieger steps up, dropping a bombshell that Mr. Dittmer, her mother's ex, has been dodging the dad title due to his grudge over child support payments for the past 34 years. She and her mom are here to finally set the record straight with DNA proof in hand. The courtroom braces for what's next, knowing this isn't just any family barbecue squabble.
Now you and your mother have brought him here to prove that he is your biological father. Mr. Dittmer, you say you accidentally agreed to pay child support for Ms. Krieger, and you claim that you never believed she was your daughter because her mother, Ms. Lee, cheated on you throughout your 12-year relationship.
Mr. Dittmer lays out his side of the story with a tale of certified mail mix-ups and unexpected court defaults, painting a picture of a man more lost than a tourist without Google Maps. He claims innocence in this parental drama, setting the scene for a showdown that might just need more than popcorn.
They sent certified mail to my mother's house and I wasn't there. I was in Colorado. And when the certified mail came, my stepdad signed, so they held court without me and found me in default because I wasn't there. Something I was running from the law from. I paid my bond to get out of jail. They said, you ain't going nowhere. The friend of the court has a hold on you.
Now, the evidence. Photos that Ms. Lee claims will prove Mr. Dittmer is the father, based on baby pictures where the family resemblance is supposedly uncanny. Mr. Dittmer begs to differ, leaving everyone squinting at the photos like they're trying to read the fine print on a shady contract.
Your Honor, I have pictures right here that will prove, without a doubt.
Let me see that evidence, please, Ron. These are pictures of
Jamie as a baby.
Jamie as a little girl. The next picture is
Mr. Dittmer.
Mr. Dittmer. And you believe they look exactly alike.
Look at him, yeah. How can he deny her?
Do you see the similarity?
Not really, Your Honor.
The plot thickens as Ms. Lee admits to past romances, but insists she was faithful during the critical time. Mr. Dittmer counters with accusations of her playing the field during their 12-year relationship. It's like watching a tennis match, where both players are convinced the other one's got a foot fault.
Anyone else?
Yes, I was. At that time, I was not. I was very close to his family. I met him when I was 14, Your Honor. His family was my family.
Everybody, when there's babies born, compare and say how much they look like me on my dad's side of the family also. How could they look like me if I have a different dad and that's from my dad's side of the family?
Judge Lake cuts through the tension, reminding everyone that kids don't come with a guarantee to look like their parents. It's a moment of sanity in a sea of soap opera-worthy revelations, and the courtroom takes a collective breath, wondering whose narrative will float.
Well, every child is different.
Well, why would she trick me into paying child support like that, Your Honor? I mean, I wasn't even at the hospital when Jamie was born.
You most certainly were.
No, I wasn't.
Oh my God.
No, I was not.
That upsets you, Ms. Lee? You don't, because he doesn't
Lying, Your Honor.
No, I'm not.
Is he on her birth certificate?
No, he's not.
Ms. Krieger reveals she only learned of Mr. Dittmer's paternity doubts in 2007, adding another layer to this emotional lasagna. Her recount of the past suspicions adds a personal touch to the saga, and it's clear this episode is more gripping than a season finale cliffhanger.
At first, it was just all of a sudden I was hearing all this, how I was his kid, and I kind of backed off. I've always been raised with him as my father. Before we moved to Monroe, he used to occasionally come by and visit us outside because he wasn't allowed in the house.
No, Your Honor. I fought for 2 years to get visitation to see these children. I went through mediators. She kept saying that I would kidnap the kids, that she'd never see them again. It took me 2 years.
Mr. Dittmer doubles down on his doubts, blaming Ms. Lee's supposed flings for his uncertainty. As he recounts his version of the story, it's like listening to someone explain a conspiracy theory, part disbelief, part intrigue.
It's because her mother was messing around with another fella about the time that Jamie was conceived.
No,
I believe
I
a
was
couple
not,
other
Your
fellas.
Honor.
Yes, you were.
I had been going to church, Your Honor, with his mother, giving my life to the Lord, and that is how it happened, because I went off the pill. I said, I'm not having sex again until I'm married. He knew I was not on protection.
She's acting like a born-again virgin or something. That's not true, Your Honor.
Mr. Dittmer discusses the heavy burden of child support payments, sounding like a man who's been through the financial ringer. The courtroom sympathizes, but can't help but wait for the other shoe to drop, knowing there's always another twist in the narrative pipeline.
We settled for half of that, and so I paid it off to get it off my back so they'd leave me alone.
So you paid the amount of $6,500
Yes, ma'am.
to settle your child support debt.
Yes, yep.
A $3,000 child support debt.
Well, they kept chasing me down. They wanted to throw me in jail all the time, and they kept threatening me. Every time I'd get a job, they'd want money, you know. They they hounded me forever.
Emotional damage is front and center as Ms. Krieger discusses the impact of the paternity dispute on her life, revealing a tale of familial bonds tested by accusations and financial strife. It's a tear-jerker moment, with the audience reaching for tissues and bracing for what emotional roller coaster comes next.
No, more than that. More than that.
Well, I mean, the fact is he's giving you some, because let's be honest, you all are accusing him of being about the money, the fact that he had to pay money, child support. I mean, he's paid the child support, he's even paid it all. The fact that he's even also giving you money on top of that seems to be...
When I was little, I asked for
I
some
even give her
rollerblades.
daughter money for Christmas too, my granddaughter.
Ms. Krieger pours her heart out, feeling diminished by the years of uncertainty and Mr. Dittmer's hurtful comments. The courtroom hangs on her every word, prepping themselves for the revelation that's about to shake things up even more.
When you were younger, did you feel like you were treated different?
He never denied my other sisters, but he never paid a dime on them. So that's why it seems like it's kind of money. And then when he did help me, he'd always be griping. Well, I don't even know if I'm yours, but I just gave you 20 bucks to help you buy some diapers. And why ask him for help? I mean, he's just got it in the back of his mind. I'm not his kid. It makes me feel worthless and like it's a lot of emotional abuse.
Judge Lake signals that it's time for the big reveal. The DNA test results are in.
Mr. Dittmer, you are her father.
The courtroom gears up for what looks to be an epic showdown. The case of Smethers versus Stevens is called to order by the court. The plaintiff, Mrs. Smethers, is beyond devastated because Mr. Stevens stubbornly refuses to accept that he is the biological father of her son, Adrian. There's an electric tension in the air, like we're at the season finale of your favorite drama series.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Smethers versus Stevens.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Smethers, you have dragged the defendant to court because you are devastated that he refuses to accept that he is your son, Adrian's biological father. You claim today's DNA test results will have a dramatic impact on your future as a family.
Ms. Smethers is putting all her chips on today's DNA test, folks. She explains that the DNA test results are crucial for her family's future. Mr. Stevens, on the other hand, argues that just one look at him and the baby is all the proof anyone needs to see that he's definitely not the father. And to top it off, he accuses Ms. Smethers of playing musical bedrooms. Get ready, because the pot's about to be stirred even more.
You say that one look at you and the baby is all the anyone needs to see that you are not the father. And if that's not enough, you claim the plaintiff slept with another man right before she told you she's pregnant. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's roll back the tape on their rocky romance. The relationship history between Ms. Smethers and Mr. Stevens is discussed, showing they met during GED classes and have had a roller coaster of a relationship, complete with sneaky accusations of cheating from both sides. Fasten your seatbelts. This emotional ride is just picking up speed.
And we had our first daughter. After that, it went from good to bad. Mr. Stevens started cheating on me. I was always at home with the baby. You know, he was always out with girls.
But I only cheated on her because, like, for example, like I would go through her phone. She would have messages erased and messages that didn't make sense. On her social medias, she would have just type in a letter, or you can go to the recent search, who you searched up on that phone, and so I would see her exes on there. So I didn't trust her.
Story time with a twist as Ms. Smethers spills the tea on the pregnancy announcement. The moment Mrs. Smethers discovered she was pregnant and informed Mr. Stevens' detail. Initially, Mr. Stevens was over the moon, but later, doubts about paternity crept in due to Ms. Smethers' later confession of a potential other baby daddy. Keep watching. The plot thickens from here.
I did open up and say that I was with another man, but I never said that AJ was not his.
Even though you didn't say it, could it be true?
No. It was, my conception date was between October 7th and the 11th, or the 12th.
Here comes the drama as doubts and daddy issues take center stage. Tensions escalate as Ms. Smethers discusses Mr. Stevens' relationship with Adrian despite his paternity doubts. Mr. Stevens admits he's been playing dad, but is haunted by his disbelief due to the child's lack of family resemblance. Just when you think it can't get more complicated, it does.
So what is Mr. Stevens' relationship like with Adrian?
He's a good dad to him. You know, when he takes the other two, he's always acted like a father figure to him. He's just had his doubts. He always comes out and says like he's too white, he can't be my baby, but I mean, he still stepped up and took the father role.
Judge Lake throws in a dash of praise amidst the chaos. She discusses the importance of Mr. Stevens' role in Adrian's life despite his doubts, commending his commitment to the child. Mr. Stevens talks about the emotional turmoil of seeing another man when he looks at Adrian. Buckle up, we're heading to the climax with the DNA results coming up.
So even though you're there 22 months, the past 22 months, you're there, try to treat Adrian just like the the other children. But when you're with him, are you constantly looking at him and comparing features? And are you having constant reminders?
A lot of the times, but I try not to because it messes with. That gives me more doubt, and like I just don't want that. Like I want me and him to have a bond. Like I want us to be able to go fishing. I want us to be able to go hunting and do stuff together.
And that upsets you?
Yes, ma'am.
Enter the wild card witness, Ms. Craig, who's about to shake things up. A key witness, Ms. Craig, is brought into the courtroom. She drops a bombshell by testifying that Ms. Smethers had expressed doubts about Adrian's paternity to her, which contradicts everything Mr. Smethers has said so far. The courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as we await the decisive DNA test results.
Smethers, your friend, Ms. Craig, is in court today. She's a witness that I'd like to hear from. Jerome, will you please escort Ms. Craig into the courtroom?
Yes.
Ms. Craig, thank you for joining us today. Ms. Craig, how do you know Ms. Smethers?
I've known Ms. Smithers for about 10 years. We've always been really close friends.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the grand reveal. The DNA test results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stevens, you are the father.